Hey guys, this is Joe with that hashtag show. Daniel's here. We just got done watching the season 3 return of Twin Peaks. It's been 25-ish years, 26 years, 27 years, I think. I don't know.
I don't know what's going on.
Blown away. David Lynch did it again. He's brought back such a classic franchise.
Yeah.
Now, Daniel, I got to start off right off the bat. What is your experience with the original Twin Peaks and the movie Fire Walk with Me? And let's get people caught up that aren't familiar with the original series. Let's get caught them up. But first, let's talk about your experience.
Okay, my experience, I watched it the order in which it came out, which means series first, and then after that, Fire Walk with Me, even though Fire Walk with Me is a prequel, yes. But that's how it was released. And that was cool then, because, man, think about it, okay, I got this whole story, and they're like, hey, but I know you want to know what happened prior. Well, here it is. And I was like, oh, what? Like, I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved that
idea. My experience with Twin Peaks is very similar. I didn't watch it as it was coming out. It was a little ahead of my time, or a little before my time.
Yeah.
So I did watch it on Netflix. I did a run through. I saw the first season, saw the second season, and then watched the movie. I was hooked immediately. It is dated. It came out in 1990. So we're talking 27 years later. We brought it back.
Boy,
1990 is a long gap from 2017, but it all kind of makes sense because it plays up to one of the storylines. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Twin Peaks, let's give you a little brief history about it. It starts off with a murder in a small town, the small town of Twin Peaks, Washington. Mm-hmm. A body is found washed up ashore. This is Laura Palmer. And we also find another dead body, Ronette.
Well,
that comes later on down the line.
Later, when they connect Laura Palmer and then also her friend, who just shows
Ronette.
up walking. Well, no, was she the one walking up on the train tracks?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but
they
she
were
was
both
alive.
Moonlighting as prostitutes at a brothel. And Agent Dale Cooper is sent by the FBI to investigate this murder. We get to meet all these quirky individuals like the Long Lady. We get to see the patrons of the diner, Shelley. Shelley's beautiful in this, and if you're not familiar with Shelley's work, she is Betty's mom on Riverdale.
Yeah, that's right.
Also, we get introduced to Bobby, who is like the bad boy, but the quarterback. Shelley's married to Leo Johnson, who is like almost like a drug trafficker for these French Canadians. You get to see all the facets. James Hurley's another bad boy that was connected to Laura Palmer and her best friend Donna.
It's pretty much Twin Peaks, small town, big secrets.
Small town, big secrets, exactly.
That's the best way to say it.
And with a sense of mysticism, too.
And
that, to me, this is the driving force of the original series. Once you get to the episode of The Red Room, that's a game changer.
Everything changes right there. We saw hints of the Red Room before, like in a dream, but we didn't really know exactly what was happening. We got little glimpses of Bob also before the Red Room.
Bob is quite the character. Did you know Bob? Fun fact: he worked on set, and David Lynch liked him and cast him as Bob.
Really?
Yeah.
So he didn't have anyone cast as Bob, or he just wrote Bob in?
He liked the look of this guy and put him on as Bob. That's why Bob never really had lines.
You're creepy, so I'm gonna put you on. That's my David Lynch impersonation.
Also, we had we had a lot to discuss. We have a lot to discuss with these this two-parter series.
Yeah.
But some of the cliffhangers from last season, 27 years ago, something I thought I'd never say, was that Audrey, who is Ben Horn's daughter, who also is in this episode, seemingly chained herself up or handcuffed herself up to a bank vault, and the bank exploded. We also, Agent Dale Cooper was almost possessed by Bob.
Almost.
Well, he was possessed by Bob, and now he's itching to get out. We also have to discuss.
Also, you have to say who Bob is. I mean, Bob is a demonic spirit that's inside of the lodge, right?
The Black Lodge.
The Black Lodge.
Black Lodge.
It's him and Mike that are usually, the ones that we knew of, and they've been in Twin Peaks for like decades. And then you come to find out that Bob has always been in Twin Peaks. He's been inside of Laura Palmer's father the whole time. The whole time.
By the way, I know we started a little early, but this is more so to get people familiar and caught up with the Twin Peaks world.
Definitely.
I'm a huge fan. Huge fan of, and I was more so excited once they announced that David Lynch and Mark Frost were returning for Twin Peaks 27 years later. It's a property that a lot of people thought was kind of dead.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
it's not. And because
Mark Frost is excited. Definitely, for sure.
we're not going to stream. Sorry, in the chat room, Caden, we are not streaming the new episode. That episode is already up. Actually, the first 4 episodes are already up on Showtime. So if you have Showtime, you can check those out. We are not going to be streaming the episode. We're just going to be talking about and reacting to the episodes and just talking about what
Twin Peaks is.
Because it's one of the most. This show is the precursor for a lot of shows that you guys love now. It's one of the first binge watch shows that was made in history. It's responsible for shows like Lost, X-Files, The Walking Dead. All these shows really respond out of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
So that's that. Daniel, what did you expect to see in this first episode, and what did you want to be answered?
I wanted to know exactly where Agent Dale Cooper was.
Well, he's in the Black Lodge.
Immediately, first thing, that's what they went ahead and gave us. Like, all right, where is he and what's happening with him? Like, 25 years have passed. You've been in the Black Lodge for 25 years? I'm shocked he hasn't gone insane. Time must go through very differently in the Black Lodge.
Well, like the one-armed man said in this episode, is it the future or is it the past or is it the future? We don't know how time passes in the Black Lodge, but we know the Black Lodge is actually somewhere I would love to go. I wouldn't want to be trapped there, but
the Black Lodge is just the waiting room for the Black Lodge.
Well, the waiting room. The waiting room. I'd kind of as long as you get to move around. Just sitting in that chair seems kind of boring.
Oh boy.
What do you think about some of these actors? Because there's a lot that we know that have signed on to come back, but some we didn't even see yet. And some we only saw very briefly. I mean, the show is called Twin Peaks. We actually spent very little time in Twin Peaks.
Yeah. Well, what I think about considering the actors, one actor I'm definitely excited to see. I know a lot of people, if you guys haven't seen the show yet, David Duchovny, when he comes back. Because he does it in drag, and it's not good drag. It's weird. It's just David Duchovny wearing a wig. It literally is. And I want to see that.
Well, I think
it's interesting to see.
I think that in Twin Peaks, the show was a little bit ahead of its time because when David Duchovny, the reason his character started cross-dressing to begin with is because he was undercover being a FBI agent and it was a drug bust.
That's right.
And he felt like when he cross-dressed that's who he really was. So in terms of like right now, a big hot topic here in the United States, maybe around the world, is trans identity. So the thing with Twin Peaks, it didn't even bat an eye to the idea.
No,
it didn't even make it weird.
And they didn't even really address it. He was in town. They were just okay.
Exactly.
That was it.
And for those of you that haven't heard of Twin Peaks, you gotta do a little bit of research because this is, like I said, the precursor to so many great shows that we get now. Back in the day, we got the Twilight Zone in the 60s. Twin Peaks was definitely the 90s era version of that. This is where you get Black Mirror, like we said, The Walking Dead, Lost. So many shows. X-Files.
All of these shows.
All these shows.
They all point to Twin Peaks because that's where it's all coming from. The type of writing, the episodic storytelling, the show itself and what keeps you invested. Being able to be a binge-worthy show, like you said, it's the first of its kind. So Twin Peaks is something that broke so many barriers. It's something that everyone should really try to watch.
Well, not only that, but also it's a huge pop culture reference thing.
Oh, man.
Family Guy actually has David Lynch in it.
Yeah.
And there's so many Twin Peaks references in that.
He's at the clam, the whatever clam, which is the bar.
Right. And also Abigail Parker says that one of her favorite shows, Psych, also plays homage to Twin Peaks.
Psych does a lot of them, especially the Twin Peaks. Yeah, they have episodes where it happens almost every season where they have to go to like Seattle or something like that. Once they do, they change the title sequence and everything, and it's just so Twin Peaks every time.
I can't tell you enough. Let me give you a little backstory on David Lynch. So, we're going to be talking all about Twin Peaks, but David Lynch is such a creative genius, in my opinion. Now, he's either hit or miss, depending on what kind of film you like. For me, he's my favorite director of all time. So I reference all the time how much I love David Lynch. He does this, he's into surrealism, and he's into transcendental meditation. Now, I know I said a lot of words that a lot of you guys aren't going to understand, but if you see this version of Twin Peaks, that we just saw on Showtime, I have no idea what's going on, but I couldn't be happier. Actual quote that I read, but it also applies to this. One thing that he does really well is he kind of layers pieces of a story and dives so deep into them that when he pulls that piece of the story out, you don't necessarily know what he's pulling out, but he's pulling out something existential that's supposed to make sense in a grander scheme of things. That's what I love about him. I think he's so creative. Now, I know a lot of people. There's some movies that, like, I think Dune is one of them, where people that was the only movie he did that was like really studio produced.
Yeah,
and he didn't want. He took his name off.
Yeah, he didn't even want to do it. It was okay. I'll do this so I can do something else later.
Exactly.
So,
and I think with his style of filmmaking is just he's a genius. A lot of people don't know this, but he was asked to direct Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
He was originally asked to direct Return of the Jedi by George Lucas personally after George Lucas saw his film Eraserhead, and he turned it down.
Which is amazing.
And made Dune instead.
Which is amazing. Eraserhead. You see Eraserhead and you're like, that's the guy I need for my space opera.
Well, you know what?
Wow.
Eraserhead opened a lot of doors for him. That movie came out, I think, in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks saw it.
Right.
And that's how he got the job doing The Elephant Man. And The Elephant Man was nominated. He was nominated for his first Oscar for Elephant Man, starring Anthony Hopkins.
But it is interesting. I will say this about David Lynch. He knows how to be able to adjust. Because you Eraserhead, then you look at Elephant Man.
Oh, like, yeah. You mean genres, yes.
Yeah, like, whoa, that's the same director and everything? Like, yeah, same guy. And you're like, I don't know how. Like, usually directors have a niche, and then that's it. He's like, no, I can genre hop like that, and it doesn't matter to me. It's about telling a story. And that's what is great about him, because there are some stories he tells, and they can be frustratingly confusing. And you'll have to watch it again and again and again. For example, one that you would love to do that to, but you can't really, is
my favorite movie, one of my favorite top 5 favorite movies of all time, Mulholland Drive. If you want a sense of who I am as a person, because a lot of you that are in the chat room, a lot of you that know me personally, if you really want to figure me out as a person, watch Mulholland Drive. It is one of
Twice, though. Yeah,
you're still not gonna understand it. Mulholland Drive is me. It's like you think you know what's going on, but you never know what's going on.
It's so
unpredictability.
Weird. It's so weird, but it's so good. And the great thing about what they did with the DVD for it, they have one that's released, and it's not even a Criterion one. If you're trying to watch it and you want to skip chapters or rewind, I think you can't, right? It's like locked. It has to play from beginning to end. And even if you have one of those DVD players where it knows where you stop and you try to start it again, it makes the film start from the beginning. It's like you have to watch it from beginning to end, so now you can get everything. You can't stop and spot watch, and that's cool. Like that kind of tricky, cool stuff where it's like, no, this is how you preserve my story. That's what makes it cool.
You know, and back to Twin Peaks. I think one of the biggest differences that I took away from the original series and this series was that the original series premiered on ABC and spent 2 seasons on ABC.
Yeah.
ABC hated the first season, but it did so well in the ratings that they had no chance, but they had to bring it back. With what happened is that it became a pop culture phenomenon. Hey, Ryan Ninja Steel Thomas. Hi. We get Twin Peaks now. The biggest thing is I think that being on a network and being on Showtime in 2017, you can tell the difference of, obviously, of a lot of things, of network standards and practices. But mainly, I want to say that it felt like David Lynch really didn't have any kind of chains on him in this.
Yeah.
It was like, this is as Lynchian as I recall the movie being. Like, and Lynchian's a term, a film term now.
It is.
So that's another thing, too. So David Lynch, kudos. But this is definitely more so along the lines of some of his best work kind of like rolled into one. Like, because Twin Peaks, when it first started in 1990, it was a linear told story, and I feel like a general audience can jump on. In this, you immediately start off with the surrealism.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can understand how hard that is for people to digest, because it's almost like eating a cuisine that you're not, your tongue's not it's foreign to your tongue.
Yeah, you haven't acclimated.
You haven't acclimated to it, so you have to kind of acquire that taste. So for me, I'm a David Lynch guy,
Right.
Like I love David Lynch a lot. Larry Newbill, I wanted to say hello to you specifically. Thank you for watching, and everybody else, Abigail Parker, that's in the chat room. We hope you enjoy Twin Peaks. Before we go any further, this is going to contain spoilers because we haven't spoiled anything yet.
No.
And we're just at that 9 o'clock time here at the Pacific Standard Time when we said we were going to go live. We went live a little early, but we do want to forewarn you, this show will contain spoilers. It's going to contain a lot of review, reaction. This is one of those things that needs to digest, though.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to need to be able to sit down, go over it. It's a DVR-able show. It's one of those where you're watching and you're like, hold on, wait. Let me rewind that for a second. What did they say? What is that in the corner? What's this? It's one of those shows. Just like Lost was. Once again, like we said, it inspired Lost. Just like Lost was, this is definitely one of those shows. But not every moment is like that. So you have to know when and how to. But it's fun.
It's fun. You know, and we want to remind you that we do have the Super Chat feature. That feature is that S symbol for Super Chat. All you got to do is hit that button. We will read your comment. And all of your, what's the word I'm looking for? Not contributions. All of your support goes right back into the show.
Exactly.
And it goes out to you, the fans. And tomorrow, it's possible we could be doing a review reaction to the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. But more on that later. Back to Twin Peaks. So we've talked about where the show has been in the past. Now we're going to talk about where the show is and where it's going. Because in the film is called Fire Walk With Me, and that's the prequel to Twin Peaks. That film takes place, obviously prequel, it takes place before Twin Peaks. But it doesn't just take place in the city of Twin Peaks, it takes place in other locations. Mm-hmm. Iowa, I believe, is one of the cities it takes place in, or states it takes place in. This show now was able to jump. We got to see Los Angeles, South Dakota.
Yeah.
Not Los Angeles, Las Vegas, South Dakota, New York, and actually Twin Peaks. Now, for Twin Peaks being the title of the show, we didn't get to spend a lot of time there. How do you feel about that, Daniel?
Well, actually, like you said, it reminded me of the film. Because in the film, that was the whole thing, too. We spent a total of, in the film, which is roughly about, almost 2 hours? Or is it an hour and a half?
The film's a little over 2 hours. And
right?
Fun fact about the film, if you actually watch it on Blu-ray or DVD, there's a David Lynch cut with just the scenes he cut out.
Uh-huh.
And it's so many scenes that it's almost a different film.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they actually only spent on the film in Twin Peaks for a 2 hour and whatever long film. They spent about roughly only 30 minutes in Twin Peaks on the film. Pretty much that's exactly what happened here. We didn't spend too much time in Twin Peaks. We were everywhere else. And I'm glad we were because we did get new characters. And I don't know, when it comes to Lynch, I love new characters because there's so much depth to them and there's so much to be found out. Like you're gonna find out so much from just these new characters.
I want to play a fun game with you real quick, Daniel.
All right.
If you had to describe Twin Peaks to somebody that has never seen it, give me your elevator pitch, 2 sentences or less.
Shoot. Lost with more mystery that builds a community. It's weird to say that.
Okay. I think my elevator pitch would be giant, little person, red room, mysticism, small town equals brilliant storytelling.
Oh, well, that's more than 2 sentences. I could have...
Well, that's like 2 sentences. It's like
just with comma, comma, comma.
Yeah, comma,
man.
comma.
I'd say like small town, big mysteries. No, it's Lost, but small town, big mystery.
Anybody out there familiar with Lost in the chat room? I'm really curious to know because we could talk a little bit about that, mainly because a lot of the tones, and I'm not going to get too much into Lost because that's a whole other show altogether, but the tones of Jacob and the Man in Black were Bob and Mike in Twin Peaks.
That's right.
That was the precursor here. Ryan Super Steel Thomas says, I'm having my evening coffee right now, and coffee... I like where this is going to start off this conversation because coffee plays such an important part of Twin Peaks. Now, for those of you that don't know, David Lynch is a coffee fanatic, and it plays its way into the original series as it does this series. Mm-hmm. In the original series, Agent Dale Cooper is, let's say a coffee connoisseur.
Yeah.
And that's a characteristic of David Lynch. Now, this story almost starts off with, well, it doesn't start off with this quite exactly, but there's a scene where, well, let's get to the right to the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. We are back in the Black Lodge.
We start off
with
in the Black Lodge with one of your favorite characters.
The Giant. The Giant's back. I can't believe it. The Giant's back.
Literally, when we were watching it, the minute we see the Giant, he goes, he like looked like a schoolgirl, just
because I didn't know the Giant was coming back.
Yeah,
I knew that the little guy wasn't coming back.
Yeah, right. Which is interesting, but we'll go into that.
Yeah, he didn't come back, but the Giant came back, and he's pretty much telling Dale Cooper that he's pretty much telling him it's time to go, right?
Yes.
It's time to leave, but
He's prepping
him, preparing him that he has to leave. It's almost picking up the series where we leave off in a sense.
Yeah.
Of the first one, but then we get to New York City. We get to New York City, and one of the most beautiful shots I've ever seen in a David Lynch movie.
Yeah, man.
Was that aerial skyline view of New York City.
Oh man,
I've never seen that in a David Lynch movie.
No, the city's lit up and it's in HD straight out, so it's like it looks amazing, and it's just over the city, sprawling shot, just tracking, just carrying over the city, and you're seeing the hustle and bustle hundreds of feet below, and then you're seeing just the city at its top, at its peak. It's just moving, it's breathing, it's alive, it's its own entity. And then we go right into a room, and of course there's a coffee reference.
That's we get it right off the bat.
Man, and so yeah, they're getting coffee from a place, I don't know, that puts a Z on their cup. I don't know how it's going to be important. Most likely someone will tell us very soon.
I like that you've already prefaced with the almost looking for those small Easter eggs.
I'm looking for everything.
Because this is one of the first series that has you do that.
Yep.
Back in 1990, the big mystery was who killed Laura Palmer, and there were all these like little intricacies of the show that a lot of people now would call Easter eggs to build to have you solve that mystery.
Oh, dude.
Also, in these sequences in the Red Room, they're almost like you would have dreams, but you'd have to decipher them and analyze them. And I think it's a very telling way to figure out what's going on with the plot.
Mm-hmm. And from there, immediately with the coffee, we have we're introduced to two new characters, and the one that is like the most important to me is this guy that's sitting there on a couch staring at this giant glass box.
I'm trying to pull up the character names right now, if possible.
Like he's staring at this giant glass box, and you find out pretty quick that that's his job. He has to stare at this giant glass box, and you're trying to figure out why. And they do give us the reason why, because someone comes to bring him coffee, and it's this girl that wants to sit there with him. You keep wondering, why does she keep, because they show her at least twice, and every time she's like, can I go in?
One thing we didn't mention, though, that the Giant does say, save Richard, and he says another name. I can't remember.
I thought it was like Lana.
He says it's Lana. I don't think it's Lana.
I don't know.
It's Richard and something, but he says 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yes.
That those names are important. But
back to... and I was so pissed I didn't write it down.
Back to where Daniel was, he was talking about that room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. So
that's not them, though.
That's not them?
I don't think
okay,
so.
Cool. So 2 birds, 1 stone, et cetera, et cetera. But you have to get out, and that's where that room happens. But there's this glass, booth that he has to stare at, and he says, there was a guy that was watching it before me, the guy who I got his job. He saw something in there, and he didn't tell me. But he's not here anymore.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, what happened to him?
The security guard? Michael
Bisping? The guy that was watching before. The guy that was watching the booth, the little glass booth.
Oh, I don't know.
That guy.
Because he saw something. Well, he couldn't have, because he said he saw something, but he wouldn't say anything to anybody.
Oh, okay, there you go. So he's still alive, apparently.
He's still alive, but he must have got freaked out by something. So whatever, and then this is what I said too. When we first saw this glass box in the room, I said this is probably to catch Bob, to catch those spirits,
right?
in that parallel alternate world universe, whatever it may be. And little do we know, it actually kind of is.
Yeah, that's what we saw. That's what we saw close to the end.
It's being funded by an anonymous billionaire.
Yes. And I was trying to figure that out. And then later, right after that scene, if you notice, when we get to Ben and Jerry, not the ice cream moguls, but the hotel...
The horns.
The horns. The hotel aficionado, or the hotel owner, and the weed aficionado.
Well, he didn't used to be. He was always eccentric, though.
Yeah,
in the
he was
original
always
series.
eccentric. And what are you going to do when it comes time where now, okay, it's legal and everything?
Right.
Yeah, he's going to be the guy that's like, I make and sell pot. So, they're brothers. They're both eccentric. And they both own the hotel, right?
They're brothers that... No, well, I guess now they've kind of prefaced that one of them is out of Jerry's out of the hotel business.
Jerry's out of it. Yeah, he said, my business is making so much, triple its profits. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
true. So when we go to them, the first thing that happens, Ben is the more, I guess...
Business savvy?
Yeah, the business savvy one. He's talking to one of his employees, and he says, "Oh, yeah, you know, our guest in New York,
Yes.
or something like." And they're taking care of our spa in New York. And I'm trying to figure out, we just came from New York, and now you're mentioning something about a spa in New York. Is this connected? Are they part of the benefactors or not, or what? I don't know. I was wondering. I don't know for sure.
You know,
But it was
who
interesting.
do you think the benefactors are? If we're saying we're already in episode 1.
Yeah.
We have a while to go to figure all this out.
I don't know. I'm like, if it's connected to someone in Twin Peaks.
The
well,
Martells. I think it's the
As far as
Martells.
the
They own
millionaires,
they own the a lot of the business there. There was the mill that they kind of had.
The mill's gone now.
Well, the mill got burnt down.
Yeah.
But that was Josie Packard owned that, but she ended up dying and turning into a doorknob. Now I'm explaining all this.
Yeah, and that's. Did we have a reasoning as to why and how she turned into a doorknob?
Well, excuse me. She shot Agent Dale Cooper.
Yeah.
Cooper found out. I can't remember what exactly happened, but I do remember her turning into a doorknob. She got absorbed into the doorknob.
Yeah,
She thought she
yeah.
was dead.
And I was like, huh? Like,
Rumor has it she's not coming back to the show though.
yeah.
So Josie Packard probably not happening.
Oh well. It's a shame.
Go back to what you were talking about.
Dude, so Ben and Jerry, they were still interesting for a moment, but I didn't really care too much about what was going on with them, besides just when he mentioned, the spa in New York. I was like, is it connected to whatever that booth is? What's going on in the booth? But we really didn't address them after that.
Hey, what's weirder, this or Legion? Starting off.
This immediately. Starting off, this is so much weirder than Legion. Like, Legion, I guess because I kind of know the background for it, but then I kind of know the background for this. And still, even though I know the background for this, I'm still like, what? I don't know.
Well, because, the original series of Twin Peaks only took place in Twin Peaks. So you only, and besides when they went up to Canada, like, crossed the border. But, like, it didn't necessarily take place in all these different cities. And I felt like maybe they were the same amount of characters, but you got them to build over time. With this, listen, right off the bat, you almost have to know somewhat of the series to understand this show. But if you jump into it brand new, I guess you could do that too. I would definitely say do a little research because you're going to be completely lost. I mean, when a lady with a log is calling the deputy Sheriff Hawk, and it's kind of like, hey, I got a story to tell you.
That my log is telling me to tell you?
But the thing is, the log is always right.
The log is always right.
The one thing about Twin Peaks is you got to understand the log is always right. Ryan says, Daniel Jerome, my boy, you look fresh tonight. Joe, you look very shiny. I am very shiny. I look very shiny.
I think I'm shiny.
Flew fresh tonight and Joe look very shiny. Oh, maybe we both and Joe look, I don't know. Whatever. But yes, Twin Peaks, that threw me off my game for a second. Sorry, that chat room.
Dude. But man, like we said, the log is always right. Twin Peaks, it's amazing the way they give us this kind of weird moments, and yet they mean so much. Like you said, he finds this one moment that you're like, oh, it doesn't mean anything, and he pulls it all the way out of the puzzle, and you're like, oh my God. This was like amazing. Put it back into the whole puzzle now, and now everything looks different.
Yeah, we get a lot of our we get to see some of our favorites when we get into Twin Peaks, because after we leave New York, we go to Twin Peaks. We get to see Deputy Hawk, get to see the log lady, and we get to see Lucy. Yeah. Lucy is the receptionist. I guess she's been there for the last 27 years, answering those phones.
Doing nothing.
Hey, it's a small town. What do you got going on?
Yeah.
But we get to see these people, and I felt like I wanted to applaud every time I saw a cast member from the original series, because that's what I'm coming back for, is my love of those cast members.
Oh, yeah.
We get to see that. We see that the Deputy Hawk gets a phone call. Actually, we get an insurance guy that comes in and asks for Sheriff Harry Truman. Now, so here's a little bit of something we didn't know. Mm-hmm. There's 2 Trumans now.
Yeah, well,
which means we have to have a younger Truman.
That's what I thought immediately.
An older Harry Truman.
Immediately, when she said which one, I was like, oh, Truman had a kid.
Right. The original actor that played Harry Truman is not coming back to the series, though.
So he'll always be out, most likely.
Well, no, he won't always be out. Michael...
Gonna replace him?
Ontkeen will not be playing him. Robert Forrester is actually playing original Sheriff Truman in the show. Yeah, we haven't seen him yet. We haven't seen any of the Trumans yet. Okay. But we do know he's going to be playing that role. Another character that's in this movie or in this TV show is Michael Cera. We haven't seen him pop up yet.
Don't know.
But we did get to see, and we're going to jump around a little bit here to talk about major plot points. We did get to see Shaggy himself. That's right. Matthew Lillard is in Twin Peaks. I didn't even know that.
Boy, Matthew Lillard.
That's right.
Or someone else called him. I forgot.
I don't know. Maverick messed up his name at some point in an interview. And Matthew Lillard gave it crap for it.
No, he didn't. He just kept poking her. Like, I'm going to mess with you now.
But before we even get to Matthew Lillard's role, I just wanted to mention he's in it. But before we get there, we go to South Dakota. Because we don't get much in the city of Twin Peaks. Okay. Oh, no, we do get Agent Dale Cooper first.
Yeah, we do.
And when I say agent, I'm going to say Agent Bob. Because he's starting to look like Bob with the long hair, grungy, dirty.
Everything he does, it's like, oh, this is Bob the Bad A. Like, literally, he is.
He walks into a lodge, meets up with men that look questionable. Oh, we do see Dr. Jacoby as well.
Oh, yeah.
In a trailer.
For just a short scene. And I'm trying to figure out, it lets us know, one, he's alive, and 2, he's, like, not living, he's now on his own, like, in this, like, trailer.
Yeah, he's a recluse, it seems.
Yeah.
But he has those weird 3D-ish kind of glasses still on. He's out in the woods. He gets a package or something delivered to him. That scene, I guarantee, is going to be important later.
So important later, just like how the very first one we saw in New York for a moment. Later, it becomes very important.
Yes, but see, we don't get any follow-up to Jacoby's character. It's literally like somebody brings him something.
Well, wait, we only had 2 episodes. All of a sudden,
we got one episode. It's one whole episode for 2 hours. But
but then we'll probably see in the next. But from what I understand, Lynch likes to do things in like the rule of 3s, like they say. So maybe the 3rd episode, all of a sudden, we'll see Jacoby, and it's a big important moment.
Possibly. But we do go to South Dakota. And we see a woman that is checking in on apartment. She smells something really bad.
But wait.
That's not her. It reminds me.
Who does she remind you of?
She reminds me of the lady in Mulholland Drive that she thinks she gets stung in the ass by like a wasp or something. And she like freaks out. She's like, ooh, that's so fierce. But she got shot in the butt.
Shot him right in the butt. Like, literally, just bow. Who gets shot in the butt? She does.
It's a great moment.
But people even in Reddit said the show for them didn't pick up until they got to South Dakota. Because everyone in South Dakota is clearly inept. That's what it was. That's what was happening.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
You know, David Lynch likes to direct actors in a very specific manner. There's sometimes he makes people deliver dialogue in like a certain way. Let's do a David Lynch scene right now.
Okay.
Let's do the next minute in like a David Lynch-esque.
Oh boy.
Okay. So you ready? We're gonna do this show in David Lynch kind of like speech. You can start.
It was interesting. Really, it was.
Very interesting indeed. There's cops at the door. Did you hear them?
I did. I heard them.
That's enough of that.
Yeah, that's how it is.
That's enough of that.
Like, but that whole while you see me blink and doing the count, literally, it feels like they'll do a one shot, and you'll see one person, and he says action, and then they have to count to like 3 before they even speak.
If you want to
like
see something
it's delivered, it's weird. But as you start to watch the show, when you first watch it, you're kind of like, okay, this is annoying.
It's not like that in the original series, and it depends on who the actors are.
After about 2 or 3 minutes of actually seeing it, it becomes so normal you forget that it's happening. Which is interesting because with film mostly, or anything, film, television, when you see someone do one of those weird kind of actions or movements, you're like, I can't do this. I can't watch it. But Lynch, you accept it as this is part of the world, and you just start to go with it.
And if you want to see what we're talking about, just type in on YouTube David Lynch rabbits, and that's exactly kind of like.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's one of the strange. It's like a play with giant rabbits, but they're humans. It's the weirdest thing you'll ever see. It's also in a movie called Inland Empire that he directed. But back to this, we get to see this lady calls these cops because this horrendous smell is coming from this apartment building.
Her dog picks it up first.
Her dog picks it up first.
Oh.
Yes. You want to take it on from there?
It's a smell. Okay. Is that a super chat? Is that? I think that's a super chat from Larry freaking Newbill.
Larry Newbill. Doesn't say anything.
Nothing. Man, Larry, you're just here to support.
Thank you for your contribution, Larry. I have not seen your memes yet. If you want to DM me those, that'd be great. But thank you so much, Larry. But Daniel, continue on.
Dude, it's the smell of death. It reeks. It's just decay and everything. She knows, it's there because once she says, oh, I can't take the smell. I knew automatically, okay, somebody's dead behind that door. And she's looking for Ruth, and you're thinking, oh, Ruth, sounds like some old lady automatically, Ruth, and she's so concerned, but in a weird way. In a really, really weird way, she's concerned.
I love this character mainly because she's so kind of like quirky. She's like, I was supposed to water the plants. I don't think they're home. She's so quirky, but she does point out that there's a maintenance guy named Hank that the police should talk to because Hank knows the brother of the person that lives there. So they find Hank and they question him. And Hank is a weirdo.
Hank, really weird. Just standing there, what are you guys talking about? What's going on? Holding a bag. And you're like, well, what is he doing? What is he doing? What's going on? Something is suspicious about him automatically because he's so concerned about the cops.
Hank, what's going on?
He's so concerned with the cops, and then finally he's like, "Oh, well, I don't know. If you want the key, you're gonna have to find Chip. Who's Chip?
Yeah.
Like what? You guys are leading me on a wild goose chase. Who's Chip? Oh, Chip is the brother of the. Oh, okay, Hank. I thought you were because she said, all right, where's Chip? Oh, I can call him, I guess. Okay, great. So now we went through this whole who's on first kind of thing routine just to find out that, okay, we can just call him. And sure enough, here comes our completely quirky neighbor. And she asks, oh, do you think Ruth went out of town? I'm a cop that just called him to see. How do I? No, I don't know. And then sure enough, she's like, oh, because she told me to water her plants. Right there, both of us, head sunk. Because we know what the next scene is going to be. I have her keys! Of course you have her keys. They've been hanging from your wrist from the entire moment we saw you, and I didn't realize that.
Yes.
She was talking, and then every once in a while, and that was smart, because Lynch didn't, if you rewatch it, at moments when she does talk, she moves her hands frantically just so you can hear the keys jingle almost where it's louder than her voice. They wanted you to know immediately, oh God, she has the key. So that's what happens. But Hank, like I said, is weird because after the cops go off with her to find Ruth, he's on the phone and he's talking to Chip, I think. And he tells Chip, yeah, I've got it, but you'll never, you said you weren't going to be part of this, I'm thinking, okay, there's money in that bag or something.
There's money in that bag. There's something in that bag.
Something that's worth something in that bag. And
that's what they call in films the MacGuffin. It's the MacGuffin.
There you go. But once we finally get to the room of death, we definitely find death.
We see a woman's head with her eye shot out, and she's in a blanket.
Yeah.
And you, at that moment, you know that the cops are like, all right, we have something serious on our hand. So we then get the detectives in there.
The cop says, what does the cop say? Oh, no. First thing, he sees her shot, the eye shot, and it's South Dakota. So, that's like, oh, you betcha. That kind of, oh, no, oh, boy. So he looks and he's like, oh, no. And that's it. And then the detectives come in.
The detectives come in. They peel off the blanket that's on this woman's body, and it goes from bad to worse. And you ever have one of those days where...
And I felt so bad for the cop, because the cop, once again, what did he say when they show the body? Oh, no. Because it did go from bad to worse.
So the head is severed, and the body is a male's body. So we got bigger fish to fry.
A woman's severed head, and then a man's body. So now it's like, okay, we're going to have to find the head of the man. So now 2 people are dead. This just isn't fun anymore.
Yes.
No. It's too much work.
It was a lot of work. I feel so bad for whoever's investigating this case. Then where do we go, Daniel?
Well, you mentioned Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
On the show. Just jumping right to it, Matthew Lillard's fingerprints are all over that crime scene. Like, all over the place. And we're trying to figure out, well, how? Why? He's the principal of this town and everything, and he looks so nice. Even though he had, like, some weird kind of Fu Manchu mustache on his ID. I don't understand what that was about. He has, like, a weird, like, Fu Manchu mustache on his ID, and then when you see him, clean-shaven, and just like,
Let me ask you,
I'm so nervous.
We have, like, 18 episodes of this. And I think in every episode, there's going to be a moment that we're going to say, what the fuck's happening? And guess what? I think we're going to say it 18 times.
Okay.
Because it's going to be in every episode we're going to say, what the fuck is happening?
There you go.
But it's going to be awesome. Because David Lynch, when we see this dead body, we see this Matthew Lillard thing, he has this great way of making the audience feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But using the backdrop of these small towns, Rockwellian in a way, like wholesome.
Definitely.
So it's very strange. It's a very strange, like, dichotomy of what's happening. But one of my favorite lines is when they come to get Matthew Lillard. They arrest him, and his wife yells out, "But we have company tonight!" Like,
literally. They are talking to you, and we are taking your husband. Hi, ma'am. We're here to take your husband. He is going to be questioned and most likely going to be in jail.
You know,
but we have company. What about the Millers or whoever they were? I was like, really? Is that her only concern? But then I started to worry about, what about the company? It's going to be an awkward dinner. She's sitting there at the table. They're sitting across from her. So where's Matthew Lillard?
His name's not Matthew Lillard.
Whatever, he's in jail. Oh, wow, how'd that happen? I don't know. But
and knowing in David Lynch style, it would probably go somewhere about that.
She's like, so how's your chicken? Oh, it's pretty good. Oh, good. That would be the conversation.
Abigail has a great comment in here. She says, I definitely have to check out Twin Peaks from what you two are telling me. Good things. My coworkers have the DVD box set in the first season. Let's see if we can find the new season somewhere online. Currently, right now, all of Twin Peaks is on Netflix.
Is it still? I thought it was already off.
No, it's on Netflix. That's how I watched it. Twin Peaks is on Netflix, and it's also the original series is also on Showtime, as is the movie Fire Walks with Me. So if you want to subscribe to Showtime, you can. If you just want to see the series, it's on Netflix. You don't absolutely need to watch the movie. I recommend it because you want to get the full experience, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
But continue on. One thing I do want to mention. There's a huge plot point here when we're talking about Matthew Lillard's character. Let's find his name real quick because I hate calling.
The actor when it should be the actual character. I get it.
Go ahead, Daniel.
But so
talk to the people.
He's taken to jail, and they're questioning him. They're asking him, "Well, hey, do you know Ruth?" And he's like, "No." Oh, the librarian. Yeah, I know her. He's the principal. Of course, he's gonna know the librarian. Yeah, it's the librarian. Okay. Have you ever been to her place? No, I've never been to her place.
He doesn't have a name.
He doesn't?
No. Well.
Wow, that's weird.
I'm sure he does, but
yeah, I don't know. So then after they ask him that, they're like, "Okay, well, have you ever been to this apartment building?" And he's like, "No, I don't know what's going on. Where's my lawyer? Where's my lawyer, George? I need my lawyer, George. He'll be here soon. But look, this is what's happening.
And we want to talk to Phyllis though. He asks, he's like, "Hey, Phyllis is his wife." He's like, "Hey, bring Phyllis in here. I got to talk to her."
She's busy though, dude. I mean, she's got to make dinner for guests.
Yes.
She don't have time for all that.
And plot point number 2 is that he is accused of killing this poor librarian woman.
Poor Ruth.
And Phyllis says she knows that it was him, essentially, because his fingerprints are everywhere.
So finally when he gets there, when she finally does show up, that's when she says it. Well, she walks right in. They sit down, they wait for everyone to go. And that's when you were like, okay, he's either going to admit to her, so I did this and I need you to cover this or hide this. I thought that's what was going to be the case. And he was like, I didn't do this. And she's like, your fingerprints were all over it. Yeah, you did it. And I'm like, what kind of wife is this? You were so concerned about dinner, I'm thinking you'd be concerned about him. Nope, not at all. He ruined dinner probably. That's why she's waiting out and die. But she's pissed, and she goes right into it, and he's, and she just goes to the juggler. I know about the affair. It's been an affair. You've been stooping, Ruth. That's what's going on.
What was that?
Stooping. You're giving it to her.
What's you stooping?
Stooping. It's Yiddish.
Is this like Maverick's whole? What did she call in Westworld?
His schwanz.
His schwanz.
That's Yiddish also. That's we here at the hashtag show endorse Yiddish. No, but honestly, so they're getting. I know you've been banging her. That's
and maybe even somebody else.
Yeah. Well, no, he
says that.
He says, "Oh yeah. Well, I know you've been banging George, his lawyer, and maybe somebody else." Ooh, like I'm automatically. Oh dang.
Who did you think that somebody else was? You didn't know.
I didn't know. I had no idea. I had no idea. But I knew they were gonna show us somehow or some way. And so, yeah. So now we got this couple. They're horrible people. Horrible people. Cheating on each other and everything. And she's like, well, you're going to go to jail for life, so enjoy your death, And he's still freaked out and worried. Big plot point. Huge plot point. But he tells her, he does say something important, which is...
Super Chat! That's not what he said that was important, but I'm going to say it's Super Chat. Larry Newbill says, tonight, where's the Jack and Coke? That's a great question. And we might be getting some Jack and Cokes later on tonight.
Yeah, who knows?
Because I got Jezzer behind the boards here. I got Keith behind the boards here, running the show.
This is the show usually where people drink coffee.
This is the show where people drink coffee. This is and it's Sober Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Not in my life. No. Maybe in somebody else's, not mine. But...
yeah, coffee. We'll have some pie. That's what they do.
But let's bring up that coffee energy because Daniel has some great points, and I think some of those points are coming clear right now.
Oh man,
I love the fact that this is Americana getting torn apart.
Seriously.
Right in front of your eyes. This is supposed to be because he's a school principal. They seem to live in the idealistic white picket fence house.
Yeah, she's an at-home wife. You can kind of tell. They're slightly affluent. I don't know how that happens when you're a principal, but they are. Clearly, so it's above middle class, and you're seeing it all ripped at the seams right there where they're going at each other.
But here's the interesting thing, just to speed this up along just a little bit, is that Matthew Lillard is in jail to pretty much, his wife tells him, to rot for the rest of his life. And we see him saying, what is he? He's like yelling, no, or whatever.
Yeah, no, he's like freaked out. No.
He's freaked out. He's freaking out because he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail, seemingly. But camera pans right. All right.
Wait. Before that, though, he says that he didn't do it. And he had a dream that he was in that apartment. But he says he wasn't there. He had a dream that he was in the apartment.
But here's something that's very interesting. In the original series of Twin Peaks, Leland Palmer is Laura's dad. He is the one that's possessed by Bob.
Yeah.
And in the movie, we get to see that Bob wants to jump from Leland to Laura, but Laura fights it off and is pretty strong. But Laura ends up dying in the process.
Yep.
Do you think that Bob jumped from Agent Cooper because this is going to tie in later on?
That's right.
Do you think that he jumped in from Agent Cooper to Matthew Lillard's character
while he was asleep?
While he was asleep,
possibly.
Because this all can tie in because we do get a scene with Agent Cooper. Well, Bob Cooper. Yes. We'll call him Bob Cooper here for the sake, and Phyllis. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that's our first Twin Peaks fan theory.
Yeah, there you go. All right, perfect. So
we're going to chalk this one up. First Twin Peaks fan theory. If it pans out, we're right. If it doesn't, we're wrong.
We're wrong. But most likely we're right. Just the way I think.
Haven't you seen our Westworld show?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm always right.
Legion?
I was always right.
So I'm just saying, it's something that's going to happen. You're going to see. We're right. But definitely, that's exactly what Flash, I was right. So
you're right.
Anyway, So let's say Bob jumps inside of the body and he's the one that committed the murder. He has to now clean up some stuff, and that would explain why we get the next scene, which is Phyllis.
Whoa! You're missing something.
The pen. What was it?
We had to actually. So Daniel and I were watching it. We actually had to rewind it back because he caught it and I necessarily didn't. So he was like, "What is that thing?" We watch it. It's a dude in all black.
Yeah. Eyes, just large white, and then with the black people, it looks like when you go to what is that in LA? There's a museum on top of like a hill, the Getty. The Getty. When you go to the Getty, there are the Grecian sculptures, and they're like dark busts, and then they have just the white
Sure.
eyes that they put in there. It looks exactly like that.
Yeah, so then after that, this guy kind of just
Fades away.
but his head stays and just floats off. And I was like, this is what I love. This is why I love Twin Peaks. Things like that.
Because you don't know what's going on, but yet you're going to get an answer. And I got excited because I'm just like, this is something that's completely off. So the answer is going to be even just far more off the rails. And I am so ready for it.
And Phyllis.
I am.
Phyllis ends up home.
Oh, Phyllis gets home and sees somebody that she recognizes immediately.
Yeah,
you
and
can see it.
It's Bob Cooper, Agent Dale Bob Cooper.
And what does Booper do? Well,
Booper, I like that.
Yeah, right. What does Booper do? Booper says, "This is George's gun." Remember, George is the lawyer for the family, and he's been banging Phyllis. He says, "This is George's gun," and then points it right at her. She starts.
Well, he says that you.
Oh yeah, you're so good at like human nature.
Yeah,
right? You did a good job. Well, he tells her that she did a good job, meaning whatever she did there at the jail or whatever, she did good. So he wanted Matthew Lillard to
Shaggy.
Yeah, he wanted Shaggy to be
It
in
wasn't
jail,
me.
and that was it.
Not that Shaggy.
That's how he sounds, right? It's like, I don't know.
Imagine if he showed up in Twin Peaks.
It wasn't me. I didn't kill her.
I think
what he
that
said.
when Booper shoots her, he shoots her right in the head, right in the eye.
So you stop for a second and you're like, oh, wow. So you shoot another person in the eye. So, okay, Booper, you're definitely doing this. And then after that leaves. So he's cleaning up stuff and still leaving more
Evidence behind.
But see, now that's going to probably could exonerate Matthew Lillard. But then again, he didn't cut off her head.
The one question I do have about Booper, though, is how did he get from...
Twin Peaks to South Dakota.
Well, not even that. 'Cause we know he has a car.
Yeah.
But one thing we don't know is that he... Remember when he bangs his head in the final scene of like of the last season
And then
27 years ago?
Over, and looks like it's all
Yeah, and they all kind of like hear it in the bathroom when they look over. Like, do they just not think anything's weird?
Yeah, like
because Sheriff Andy, when he was like, we've had our son, and Cooper hasn't even given us a card. So they obviously don't think anything's wrong. He's not locked up or anything, unless he escaped, which obviously still wouldn't happen.
Nope.
Because Andy wouldn't have just been so calm about it. I feel like.
So I do wonder about that. 25 years ago, what happened? You're sitting in the living room, some guy bangs his head against the glass, and you all hear it. He walks out like bloody. Okay, let's put two and two together. The guy banged his head into the glass because the glass is broken. It's just, what do you want? That's crazy Cooper. Good old classic Cooper.
Yeah.
Is that it? Because Cooper's not that guy.
He's not that guy.
So I don't understand. But once again, through the magic of television, we don't have to answer what happened there. We just continue and move on. We probably will find out later. We probably will. They may refer to it. But I did love seeing Booper because it was like just the longer hair. You knew immediately.
Man, and
Bob's
you know
still
what?
there.
Kyle MacLachlan's aged pretty good.
Man.
He looks really good.
I mean, but see, he looks really good here. But I remember on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., maybe they try to age him up. And
he was supposed to be
look,
Sky's dad. I forgot he was
Yeah.
on that. He was.
He looked
Mr.
He looked
Hyde,
like he
right?
was
Or
like,
Dr.
yeah, he looked like he was like, my life, it's so hard. But that's probably why.
I found a great comment online that says Matthew Lillard's expression here reminds me of him in Scream. My mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me.
It's exactly. Oh yeah, when they cut him and he's like, oh god, I'm bleeding a lot.
All right, so now where do we go now? Where's our story pick back up?
Dude, so from there, I'm kind of like, what? Did we go back to New York? And that's when we.
Yeah.
Now, okay, with New York, we get back to it, and finally, security guard's not there. The guy says, "Hey, come on in." He's looking to make out. What's wrong with that? Good red-blooded Americans. So they're making out, and while they are making out, then finally something happens inside of the box. It's just pitch black. It's so dark. And we hear like a weird movement. Oh my gosh, even hearing things. Stop for a second. All the way at the beginning of the episode, when we were talking to the giant, what did that sound like to you?
When we're talking to the giant?
And he says, listen. And they're playing a phonograph. What did that sound like to you?
I don't know. What was it? It was like an Easter egg there for you?
I read something and I thought about it, but I just didn't connect it completely.
Okay.
Did it sound like the baby rattle from Eraserhead?
Oh, I didn't even. Yeah.
Somebody was like, it sounds like the baby rattle from Eraserhead on a loop. And I was like, oh, dude. I thought it sounded like some kind of rattle or something, but I didn't think about it like that way. Yeah, it's exactly what it sounded like.
You know, that's so interesting. Do you feel, just out of curiosity, because David Lynch is an out there cat, do you feel that this show is going to be a little too weird for mainstream audiences? Because I understand the hype of Twin Peaks and the original and David Lynch, because I'm a fan. Because it's almost like I'm a part of that fandom. Mm-hmm. But do you think in the mainstream audience that people are going to be able to digest this?
I definitely think so. I mean, right now, the way we are with television, we've been trained to be able to watch a thing and then talk about it with everyone, create a community. I mean, after shows are something now that we have now, which we didn't have then. Mm-hmm. So it's a community that's created. If you're watching Leftovers right now, it's one of those shows, but it's one of those shows where you watch and you're pausing, you're stopping, you're rewinding. Oh my gosh, did you notice this? Did you notice that? And that's a show that's happening right now. And that is so surreal at moments. And it's just prepping us for what we've already known, which is Twin Peaks, which was beyond anything.
Daniel, you want to hear something interesting?
Yeah.
Because you just mentioned the baby rattle from Eraserhead. Uh-huh. I'm going to talk about the Red Room real quick. I'm going to talk about the Black Lodge, but I'm going to talk about Agent Cooper, real Agent Cooper, meeting the Arm.
Oh, okay, all right.
The Arm it was a tree with a thing on top of it. It's evolution per se.
Yeah,
but you mentioned the baby rattle.
Yeah.
The thing that was on top of this branched tree looked like the baby from Eraserhead.
Oh, it did.
So that's really interesting, man.
Oh.
Really interesting.
Oh, that's weird. That's really weird. I didn't think about that. Oh, jeez.
Yes. Also, the tree has a doppelganger. And the doppelganger...
Yeah, the doppelganger, oh my God.
Is the little guy. The little guy that's not in this series anymore.
No.
The little guy in the red suit is like, Agent Cooper. That's how he talks, though. Tell me that's not how it sounds.
Exactly how it sounds. Because it's in reverse and then played forward.
I feel like the first 5 minutes of our show should be like that.
Not even first 5 minutes, 30 seconds.
Hello, I'm Joe. #show. That's how it sounds, though.
It's exactly how it sounds. It's so weird. It's so weird.
I'm just going to do the intros for everybody for the Twin Peaks show.
People are like, what? What am I watching? Like, I can't do this anymore. But I didn't realize that thing does look like the baby, Eraserhead.
Yeah, so
that's weird.
Agent Cooper is ready to get out of there, but he has to bring the doppelganger back. Or the doppelganger has to come back to the Black Lodge.
Yeah.
And that's almost where we end the first part of this episode.
We still, inside of that box...
That's the next episode. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
It was in the first, right?
Yeah. We skipped that.
It fills up with, like, just void, blackness, just darkness. Darkness is spreading. And it's all inside of that booth. It's just, you can't see what's going on. Then you see a slight figure, and it starts to do that whole, like, telescopic thing. It's so fast, it's making a noise just like that. And,
shout out to Larry Newbill.
Shout out to Larry Newbill. And then it breaks the glass and comes for the couple that was
having
out.
sex. She was hot too.
They were, yeah. Well, they're dead now.
Well, she got into that building because Michael Bisping left his post.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's funny? I interviewed Michael Bisping for XXX, and I asked him about Twin Peaks, and he said that he had to audition over the phone because the plot was so secretive. I'm sorry. He had to audition in person, but he was given his lines over the phone and had to write them down.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It was crazy. And he was like, to tell you the truth, I can't talk about it. It's top secret. He wouldn't tell me what his role was. We know that he's a security guard. But here's the interesting thing about him right now.
Right.
Where is security guard Bisping?
Yeah, right? I'm like, you were there, now you're not there. I don't think he even knows what he was doing on the show. So I think that's probably the thing. I don't know. It's so convoluted. I don't know what's going on.
Man, you know what? I'm happy that Michael Bisping was in it, though. But... The couples is having sex. We see that thing.
Can we agree? It's a shadow person, right?
I don't know.
It's one of my big fears, man. I'm watching it.
On Netflix.
Man,
you want to talk about that for a second?
It's one of my big fears. Shadow people.
Oh, wait,
Guys,
before Daniel gets into this talk about shadow people, is anybody familiar with shadow people? I think Keith knows. Keith behind you. We've talked about this a little bit. Shadow people.
Sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis.
Shadow people.
Yeah.
Man.
Anybody familiar with that in the chat room about shadow people or sleep paralysis?
Yeah,
Because Daniel has a documentary he wants to recommend for you
And it will ruin your life.
the Red Room's Netflix pick right now.
That's right. So there's a movie. It's a documentary, but it's so well put together. It's really good. They do recreations of like the stories of people's experiences, and these are fully functioning adults, not insane people. So that's what made it actually, subjective. But that's what made it scary, because they're telling you their stories of sleep paralysis and what happens with sleep paralysis. And there's usually a common kind of thing that happens for everyone across the board, which is when you get sleep paralysis, it's when you wake up in the middle of your sleep. Now remember, your brain releases like so many things, serotonin, et cetera, but it does it so that you can actually get sleep, and it will just knock your body out. You can't move. You can't move. You may wake up during this mode of sleep paralysis, and your eyes are open, but you can't move. And during that time, that's when the shadow people come. Shadow people are these dark figures that you can't, like, that's what they explain themselves as. I haven't seen one, but still, that's my fear. Dark figures that are just there, and and I'm just saying, they're dark figures that are there, and they just kind of stand over your bed. They'll lean over. And so many other people have different stories where they're like, "Yo, shadow person has spoken to me," blah blah. It's so amazing. It's so weird. I'm so fascinated by it and so freaked out at the same time. The documentary has 3 moments that I don't care where you're watching it. Daylight, sitting out in a park, you will still go. Oh. You will jump. It is so good.
You know,
the documentary is amazing.
Speaking of shadows, Light Behind Shadows says, I wonder if there's a drink called the Laura Palmer. I think that's going to be our quest to find the Laura Palmer.
Oh, my God.
But back to Twin Peaks, as Daniel just explained the shadow people to you. There is a shadow figure that kind of pops up into this translucent box.
Yeah.
And it breaks out of the glass, and it seemingly kills the couple that was there.
The couple are mostly the guy, because she's like,
well, their faces both look bloodied.
Okay, yeah, well, hers, but you can see hers more, she's like, but the guy is gone.
Yeah, he doesn't have a face anymore.
It's messy, and just blood. Oh, it was
so
horrible.
weird.
They were dead. They were dead, gone, finished, probably. Yeah, you're right, both of them.
On to episode 2, we got to do this rapid fire now.
Yeah, all right.
So let's just get to the major plot points on episode 2 real quick. Go for it.
So, major plot points.
I like how you're talking faster, because I said...
Yeah, I'm trying to think about it now, and I can't.
All right, we're not going to go in any linear order here, but let's just talk about major plot points. We get to see...
Oh, shoot. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Agent Cooper gets out of the box. He gets out of the room.
He's out of the room, and once he's out of the room, where does he show up? Inside of that box. And you called it earlier, that glass box.
I did. I said it when we were watching, but I think, seeing something like that, I felt like that was kind of implied, though.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think that was like a big stretch.
Yeah, so that makes sense. And that shadow person most likely is a demonic being that came from the shadow, from the
Black Lodge.
From the Black Lodge.
Yeah.
That's all. Because the Black Lodge.
Do you think it was Dale Cooper?
Demons... Ooh.
Because when we see Dale Cooper end up in that
Oh
box,
my gosh,
it's that same exact time.
Oh wow.
But it was a female body.
It was a female body.
But then a weird head.
Yeah, you couldn't tell.
Or do you think that could have been the arm?
The doppelganger. Mm-hmm. And it did what it did, and then he brought it back, and he shows up instead.
Exactly.
Huh. I don't know.
2 theories we got cooking. We got something cooking.
Look at that. I think we got something for you guys.
We also get the big plot point of... Well, this isn't a big plot point, but it's as a Twin Peaks fan, you get to see them at... There was the old bar they used to go to called the Roadhouse. That's changed now.
Yeah.
What's the new bar called?
The Bang Bang Bar.
The Bang Bang Bar. Yeah. We get to see classic Doctor Who character Shelley, who used to work at the diner, and James.
Yeah.
They see each other. Actually, funny enough, when I was thinking back, those 2 characters don't actually know each other.
Nah.
So... I mean, they know each other. They know of each other, but they've never interacted in the series in 27 years ago.
Yeah, right.
So
and now, all of a sudden, they're all in the same room. So he doesn't give her the
No, he
He's
gives
not
that.
the
He,
one-
that's another
that's
character who we
yeah.
don't know yet. We don't know who
Yeah.
that is.
Oh no,
That's-
yeah, James will just kind of.
I mean, unless that's Bobby, but I don't think that's Bobby. I don't think that's Bobby.
But yeah, we get to see her. She's in the Bang Bang bar. We get a lot more story on Booper and his band of misfits. Pretty much, his band of misfits want to kill him, and I forgot why. Is it because he's Agent Cooper or something else, or?
They
what
think
was
he's
the
Agent
situation?
Cooper. I don't think they know about Bob.
Okay, yeah.
They do want to kill him because I think that he's just so like unpredictable.
Yeah, that could be the
Seems
case.
like, and there is a plot to kill Booper.
Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't quite go to plan.
Oh,
I
no.
like the scene where Booper gets his car and he's like just touching that dude's face.
So awkward. And I wonder, like, in real life, I want to have someone do that challenge. How long can you, like, squeeze someone's face? It's like this.
Do you ever think you're ever going to be able to touch somebody's face like that?
I never, you come so close to someone, especially in LA. By the time you get, like, this close, congratulations, their fist has already hit your face. It's going to be just like that. People are like, what? Get away from me. Like, it's weird.
Yes.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't. But I'd send someone to do that challenge just to watch them get hit. I would.
Super chat us if you want to send.
Yeah, there you go.
What else we got in part 2 of this?
Boober kills the guy that he recruited. We didn't see it though. He
didn't see
says he tried to wire my. I had to kill him when he tried to wire my van, and then after that he kills what's his name's Clint Eastwood's daughter. Right.
I'm gonna read something to you.
Okay.
Bob has been in control of Agent Cooper. Has been missing since the events of the original series. The good Cooper is in the Black Lodge. The entities in the lodge want Bob to come back, and apparently other humans, possibly Agent Jeffries, wants Bob to possess him. That's true.
Jeffries was on the phone. Jeffries was on the call earlier when Booper was on the phone
Said
call.
we want him back.
Yeah. Jeffries was telling him.
The glass room in NYC was some type of experiment monitoring the lodge activity.
That makes sense.
Bob/Cooper has been in contact with Major Briggs. Now, Major Briggs is he's the father of Bobby Briggs.
Yeah.
He was the one at the end of the series that he would always go out into the woods and he would see things, and he worked for the government. He was an Air Force guy.
Yeah.
Who was in the past researching the lodge. Perhaps Bob wants to stay out in the human world and thought he could use Briggs to that end. The tree is in the new form of the dancing man, a.k.a. Mike's arm.
Yeah.
So Mike, we get to see Mike with the one-armed man in the
Exactly.
lodge, and this is the arm from the one-armed man. This is all making sense now.
Exactly.
The tree is in the new form. All right, good Cooper is back from the lodge via the glass room, and this is kind of where we leave everything.
Yep.
We pretty much said everything that happens in both episodes.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, now we're just talking major plot points, and I mean, realistically, we covered a lot of it right now. Is there anything else on part 2 that you kind of specifically want to talk about?
Actually, no. That we hit the points that are very important. Like the first one, you had to talk about everything that happened in the first one because it was just like we're setting up, we're opening up this world and even making it larger. So we have to address that. And this one now we're working with the established world. So it's just what's happening in it, and that's pretty much it for that second episode.
Well, we do see Hawk walking in the forest while the log lady calls him.
And he's doing that because he had the phone call and she told him, you're going to have to find, it says something is missing, concerning Cooper, something is missing, you have to find it, you have to use pretty much your Native American, you have to use some Native American way of finding it. That's pretty much what she says. And
use your heritage.
Yeah, use your heritage to find it. And sure enough, that's exactly what he does. Heads out, and he's in the woods. And then he gets a call from the wood lady, from the log lady, and she says the wood wants to know where you are. You're thinking, the wood and I are thinking of the same exact thing.
Right.
And that was cool. That was dope knowing that, okay, so, and the interesting part was where he was pretty much the entrance to the Black Lodge. Mm-hmm. And
right, because that's where we get to see the red come in, how it did in the original series.
The trees that turned red, and then all of a sudden we're back in there.
I don't know why the Black Lodge and the waiting room fascinate me so much, but it does. I mean, I don't know why, but it really does.
And when we did get to the lodge, we get to do the one-armed man. The one-armed man says, there's someone here. When he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, so
Hawk?
the chief, I thought the chief, he got in? How did
Just
he get in?
because he's a Native American, you called him a chief?
No, he is the
Deputy
chief.
sheriff?
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Never mind. That was horribly racist.
Almost like in season 1 of Twin Peaks, where that one lady comes back, Martell comes back.
Oh my gosh, the guy
Asian.
Asian. Oh my god,
A racist character.
So bad.
You can't get away with that nowadays.
You can't. Oh no. Oh, she had the glasses and the teeth.
And the voice.
Oh, hello. Oh, it was so bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, and you're an Asian American doing this.
That wasn't an Asian American doing it.
What did she...
She was white.
I thought she was...
No, she wasn't white old lady.
Oh, yeah,
She
that's
was
right.
just
Never mind. I'm sorry. I thought it was the one that turned to a doorknob that did it. That's right. No, it wasn't.
But here's the thing. There's a lot more episodes to go.
Well,
go ahead.
We did get Laura Palmer.
Yeah.
That's
Laura
why when
Palmer.
I was getting to where
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
one our man
continue
says
that.
someone's here, and I thought it was the sheriff, and then no, it's Laura Palmer. She shows up, and then she does this whole thing where my hand's bigger than my face, and then she takes off her face, and then there's like just lights shining out of this hole. That she's like, I don't know what that meant, but I need to know soon. And then she puts it back on, and then stands up, screams, and like and then flies away.
She does that in like the original
curtain.
series.
Exactly. Too. And he did ask her, well, then who are you? Remember, he did ask her.
And that was the same exact dialogue.
Exact dialogue.
There was actually an episode, I believe 3 or 4 of the original series, where he says, "Who are you?" And she says, "Sometimes my hands are tied behind my back."
No, sometimes my arms bend.
Oh, so sometimes my arms bend back. And she pretty much says she's Laura Palmer. And he's like, well, Laura Palmer's dead. And he's like, I'm dead, but I'm also here. I am dead. I am also here.
Yeah, I'm dead, but I'm also alive, or something.
Yeah,
weird. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's so great.
But this is where we get to, and we get to see. Oh wow, there you go.
What?
That we get to see. We get to see the. He gets summoned to leave.
Yep.
By the one-armed man.
Yeah.
And then they go to the arm, and he says, "Now is your time to leave." The ground kind of breaks apart. Everything kind of shakes, and he leaves. Yeah. But we did get a super chat. Super chat. I can't do the voice anymore.
Sorry.
Super chat. Thank you, Abigail Parker. She says, thanks for a great show to start off the day. Gotta leave for work. Is calling now. Have a good Sunday evening. Have a great Monday morning out there in Germany. Abigail Parker, you are amazing. She also drew Daniel as a Power Ranger. She also drew Jasmine and Daryl as well.
She drew me as the Doctor Who Power Ranger. That's like the best thing ever in the world. I don't care what happens now. Everything's good. I loved it.
Everything's good. Awesome. You were awesome, Abigail Parker. Such great support here on the Twin Peaks, the first inaugural Twin Peaks after show we're doing inside the Red Room. But, we got a lot. Let's sum up this episode with your final thoughts, and then we'll get into predictions.
Okay. Final thoughts. It was great. I got lost in the Lynchian kind of storytelling.
When you mean, do you mean lost in a good or bad way?
Great, in a good way. I wanted to just fall through. It was like I went down the rabbit hole, and I'm not looking to crawl back out.
Okay. I also liked it a lot too, and a lot of people might say this is it. I didn't know what was going on, but I absolutely love that.
Yes.
David Lynch has a way of directing this shows where they can go sometimes over your head, and like Mulholland Drive, I think I've seen it about 45 times, and every single time I'm trying to figure out new things that make that movie make sense. This is what entertainment's supposed to do. It's supposed to engage your mind, and it does mine. So, now let's get into our predictions.
Okay. I think what we're going to see next is, I think Cooper is going to, possess someone to find Bob, and then have that kind of moment where they get to switch, and he gets to bring, or he gets to just jump inside of that body, fight, and send Bob back to the lodge.
You know what's funny is I had the same exact theory.
See?
I thought the same thing. I think when we see Cooper like kind of leave, or in that box, I think he's going to possess somebody too.
Definitely.
And I also I think it's going to, and then he's going to go on a quest to find Bob and switch bodies.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't think people the people in the town are going to trust Cooper after seeing that he's Bob, kinda,
Yeah.
and he's going to have to try to convince everybody that he's actually Cooper, which could be a lot of fun.
So it's like, oh, here comes my haircut, and I'm wearing a suit again, and I'm drinking coffee. Bet I didn't do that.
Damn good coffee. But that's going to do it for us. But actually, that's not going to do it for us. Let me tell you what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
For season 3, episode 3
4.
and 4 are already on Showtime, but it's only Showtime digital platforms. So if you're a member of Showtime, you can watch episodes 3 and 4 now.
Yeah.
If you're not, you can sign up, watch all 4 episodes, or next week you can watch episode 3 because it will technically be out. What else do we have going on? Me personally, you're going to be able to see me tomorrow on the newsfeed with Jasmine.
That's right.
Filling in for Jessica. We also possibly might, I want to stress might be doing a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of like review live reaction show.
Live reaction show.
With myself and Jasmine again. And on Tuesdays, you can see Daniel right here on that hashtag show on the Flashpoint.
Which we're doing our season finale, so there's going to be a lot to discuss. Trust me, there possibly will be tears coming from me, but it's going to be great. It's going to be good. Then from there, what else we have?
Man, we have a lot going on this week. We have the anime. From there we have the pre-threes.
Oh, yeah.
With Kelly, Jasmine, and Daryl.
That's right.
That'll take you right into the anime super chat with Ernie and Daryl and Jasmine, and then. I don't want to say that's it. You got the Henshin Hangout, which featured DJ and Daryl.
Yep.
And then you go back to Power Rangers all over again with retro reviews and more for Mondays. But for everyone that's watching now, and Doctor Who as well, everyone that's watching now on Power Rangers, not the super chat, Power Rangers not Morphin Monday either. What do we call that show? The Ranger Wrap Up, the Retro Ranger Wrap Up. We have a special announcement on that show that's going to be happening. There's going to be a couple changes to that show, but stay tuned. Tune in live this Saturday. Me, DJ, and Kelly are finally going to be back doing the next 2 episodes. That's not the announcement. The announcement is coming later. But we want to thank all of you for watching and joining us for the inaugural Inside the Red Room, our that hashtag Twin Peaks show. You can use hashtag, what do we want to call it? Hashtag Inside the Red Room if you want to reach us on Twitter. Tweet at us at that hashtag show. You can follow Daniel at
TheRealJ_Rome.
That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yep.
And you can follow me at that hashtag Joe. That's on Twitter, Instagram, and Joe Deckelmeyer on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can follow us all there. But thanks for watching. Larry Newbill, again, thank you. Abigail Parker, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I got locked in a parking lot yesterday. Daniel, you had a fun day too.
Oh, boy.
But I think that's going to do it for us. We wanted to say thank you and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with everything trending
in geek pop culture.